Anyone who knows me knows I would never promote anything that I honestly do not endorse. It would only be products or services that that I use myself or I've used myself, and I genuinely think they're beneficial to people. I'd never sell my soul for anything. It just wouldn't happen. So yesterday I received an email from, it was an unsolicited email, and it actually came from my website. So someone used a contact form on my website. Whether it's a scam or not, I don't know. And it was about promoting something on Temu, so like you can make committed profit. I don't know. I looked and thought I'm not interested in that shit. No, because I'm just not interested. I will not promote something that I have no interest in or I don't have faith in. No, not a chance. So I just want to talk about, like, for instance, my link tree. I've got two recommended referrals. If I ever come into services that I endorse, that I really do approve of, then I will add more. It's unlikely there'll be more, but if I do, I will. One is Virgin Media. So I recently upgraded my my home broadband to Virgin Media service, which includes a mobile SIM card and TV package, which has just worked out incredibly ridiculous. Yeah, anyone knows anything. I'm not a salesman. I'm not trying to oversell anything. I'm just talking about like why I got it. I was paying £40 a month for 1 gig broadband, which in itself was a good deal. I was like happy with that. One gig for 40 quid. Okay. But then Virgin Media were doing a deal for £85 with 1 gig broadband too. So you're thinking for £45 extra from what I was paying before, you get a SIM card for a mobile phone, so a cell phone, and you also get Sky Sports, which is like F1, football, soccer, Premier League, Football League, Bundesliga, tennis, golf, boxing, and any other event, NFL. So you're getting a lot there. Plus, you're getting the Sky Cinema, and you're getting some other channels as well, a lot of the Sky channels. So from my point of view, it was like, that's a lot for £45. Especially if you start looking at the price of Sky Sports. For instance, you do it on Now TV. When I was looking, it was £25, but then to have HD, you had to buy the boost, which was another £6. All of a sudden, you're paying £30 just for Sky Sports. Yeah, I mean, this is where my head was going. So anyway, that's Virgin Media. So if someone clicks through my link, as I've put there, I don't know if it's on the third payment of a bill. I'm not sure when it happens. But effectively, if someone was to click my link and then you was to actually put an order in for Virgin Media, once you've made a certain amount of payments, I'm not sure if it's the first one or the third one, we both then receive £50 credit on our account. So I benefit by recommending, and the person who clicks the link also benefits. So it's not one-way traffic here. This isn't like I gain, you don't. That's not how it works at all. This link here is Zilch, and I've been using this like crazy, and I'm going to show why and how in a moment. So it's a credit card that's not a credit card. Effectively, it's a credit card you get, and it's built into the app. So every time you want to make a purchase, you literally just log into the app, and then you just enable it. Or, for instance, you can just add the details to a website, and then you can use it there. But sometimes you just have to confirm it through the app. It's not tricky. The good thing is, like, for someone like myself, I'm quite transparent about my financial history. I had a debt relief order 6 years ago, which was like bankruptcy almost. It was a form of bankruptcy, and that expired in January of this year. So from my point of view, I'm looking to rebuild my credit. I can't just go in and expect to be offered favourable terms. Now, even if I was, some of the credit cards are like 50% interest, which would be crazy. Effectively, you spend £200, and you're probably going to have to pay maybe £100 extra on top in interest, depending on how long you're paying it. But that's crazy. So what Zilch does, can I get it up? I can show my payment history a little bit. Effectively, what Zilch does, it splits your payments into, you pay half up front. So whatever your payment is, you pay half up front, and then the remaining half is split into three. So you've got a third, a third, a third. So for instance, if you spend £100, you'd pay £50 today, which makes it affordable for a £100 item, doesn't it? It's split. And then in 2 weeks' time, you'd pay a third of the rest, and then a third and a third every 2 weeks. So effectively, maybe, I think, if you spend £100, like 50 divided by 3, I'm guessing, I'm only going to do quick. Let's say 17 quid or £16. Maybe it's 16. I don't know the exact number here. But effectively, that's what it might be. £50 a day, 16, and then 16. Some of them have fees, but it only goes up to £3. Sometimes it's like if you was to get Uber Eats, it's a £1.80 fee. So on top, and I've done that a couple of times. Let's say you're about to get money at the weekend, and it's a Wednesday or a Thursday, and you just really want McDonald's, and your money's tight, and it's like, well, actually, wait a minute. Let's say the order's £16. You're like, I've only got like tenner. Wait a minute. If it's £16 order, I can pay 8 now plus the 180 fee, which is 10, and then I can just pay the rest in stages. And the good thing is you can pay it all up at once. Hence why I've got all these ticks, because I've been paying all mine off. So I have this since January, at the end of January, which talking about, this is what I'm saying. I endorse what I use, and I've been using this very well. It's helped me in situations where I felt I need the credit, but as soon as I feel like I can pay it back and just get it out of the way, I just pay it back, and then it releases the credit again for another purchase. So it helps me in a bind, you know. Like I said, the most you pay is a £3 fee per purchase. There's another feature that I've just started to realise as well. So you get the option when you're purchasing, whether you split it over 6 weeks, so that's like I said, the half and then the 2 and the 2 and the 2, or you can actually pay it all up front but use that card. You can get rewards. Now, it's not a lot in rewards. It's like 2% to 5% of the purchase, but that adds up anyway. And the way I like it is it actually shields your bank details from the websites. Like I can just use that on websites instead of my debit card. So all of a sudden, nowhere really needs to know my debit card information. It'll be hidden to an extent. And I kind of like that as well. So I've just recently paid off. For instance, I did a grocery shopping bill with Tesco's. Back, I think it's on a Saturday last weekend. It's like, let's say it's £80. That means I spent 40, and then it's like you can just pay the rest every 2 weeks. It's only little amounts, like £13, isn't it? Like maybe it's £13 in 2 weeks, £13 2 weeks later, £13 2 weeks later. If you're in a bind in a period, that's great. So yeah, that's what I do now quite often. It's like just gets me it quicker, so I don't have to wait till I've got more money to pay for the full shopping. So this one's still open. If you see here, £80 shopping. That's what I'm saying. I made the initial payment, and then you've got another one, then another one, then another one. But I also had another one recently with Tesco's here, but I just paid it today. I paid it all off. I had £25 left to pay. I just paid it. And then that released the whole £72. So when it's credit available, they remove the whole lot from your credit. So let's say you had £200 limit, and then it was £72 total shopping, even though you've already paid half, they do still take the whole amount off your credit limit. So your available credit. So even if you've got one more payment of £13 left, until you pay that £13 final payment, that whole balance will not come off. So sometimes it's worth just paying that off, and then it releases more credit, which I'm going to get to show what I've just done. And it's worked out quite beautiful for me personally. So here you go, £111. So that literally cost me, I think, £55. I think I've got it here. Yeah, £55 here. So it's £111 today, which, you know, I'm like, I haven't really got 111 to spend on this, but I can spend 55 comfortably. And then in 2 weeks, I can pay a little bit more. And then 2 weeks, another little bit more. And that's fine. I can handle these payments, as you can see here. So today is £55. And then on the 20th of March, I've got to pay another £18. 3rd of April, £18. 17th of April, £18. At any point, I can contribute towards it, though. I can pay each payment early, or I can pay all of them early. So what's that got me? We'll be over here. So we got there, and that's literally just enabled me to get this steering wheel that I wanted. So I've been doing my racing sims. I've had 2 wheels in the past. I've sold them. It's been really annoying because, you know, I want a wheel again, right? Now, if I go on eBay, Amazon, I mean, it's £200 brand new, and I'm not paying £200 again. I think I sold mine for £150 last time. And every time I go on eBay, everybody's selling as collection only. Collection only, collection only, collection only. And I'm crying out loud. So every time someone's doing it, available to buy it now, because that's how I like. I don't like bidding. I just want to know a price. Can I order it? There's only ever 2 or 3 at a decent price. All the others are really expensive, or the others just sell. And it's just an absolute nightmare. So I found this listing for £105 plus postage. So it ended up 110, 111. I don't know what the extra thing is. I think there's a buyer protection. I'm not sure how that total worked out. Oh, yeah, it is. So it's 104.72 plus the £6.56 delivery. It was 111, which is a bargain for a £200 steering wheel. So I'm like, okay, this is good, because I was looking before to do the credit deal for that. So it would have been £100 up front, and then I'd have had to find 20, maybe £30 £30 something every 2 weeks. That'd be quite expensive. But because I got it off eBay, it's worked out far cheaper. £55 up front rather than 100. And instead of £33 every 2 weeks, it's only £18. So it's like, this is the deal. Right, but I don't really want to pay £105 today because it's like that pushed me quite hard. But £55 for me is affordable. So that's what I did, and it allows me to get it before it sells. Now they did offer that, make an offer, but I know how rare this is. I know how hard it is to get hold of these things. So I'm like, no, I'm not wasting time. It's a good price. I like it. So fortunately, I had enough credit limit because I'd repaid my Tesco one, which was like 20 quid. So let's say I paid my 20 something pound, and then I managed to get this as well. And it just creates less clutter on my spending. But like I said, I've just managed to get a £200 steering wheel set for my computer because that's what I'm getting into my Sims again, and I really want to enjoy it, and I can do it my trucking and stuff. And like, that's the bargain. And if I spend too much, sometimes I start feeling annoyed. Like if I don't use it enough, I think, well, it's a waste of money. Sell it. It's not worth. And that's why I end up selling them because I get this like guilt. But if I haven't spent a lot, I won't feel guilty for it. I know I digress, but it's just explaining why I'm doing it. And then, like I said, at any point I can then pay the £18 early if I want to. Or if I feel like I've got the rest of it just to pay off, I'll pay it off because then it releases 111 on my credit again. So by making the £55 worth of payments, because that's what it is, half, it will release 111 into my balance so I can spend again, which might help me with shopping. It might help me with another purchase. Or let's just get the credit. Let's just get the thing back up. So Zilch has, I think, 3 different tiers. One is Zilch Up, which is the one I've got. So it's the most basic one. It's very easy. I don't even think you can get declined for it. In all honesty, I don't think you can. I'm not sure. It's very easy to get. You start off with an £80 limit. I think it was. I started. It might have been less. A couple of purchases and a couple of repayments, like full repayments, even if it's cheap. All of a sudden, it just started boosting. So now mine's boosted up to £200. Somewhere it says that's the maximum you can have. Other places it says 600. I don't really know. So Zilch Classic is a different one. You have to do a credit check. It'll be harder to get. That's an actual credit. I don't think you know if you have a physical one, but you can pay it over monthly periods. I think it's 3 months. But you get a higher credit limit with that. And then there's another one called Max, I think it is, or something. But yeah. So if someone was to use this service just in the same way I'm using it, because like you say, I'm using it on everything. I've used it. If we just go through my shopping list, for instance, I use Grammarly to do my books, for instance. I like to have that as my editor. It gives me recommendations. It saves me using someone, and I've used that on all my books, and I'm really happy with the service. I like the premium feature, but the basic one's fine. But they did a deal, and I thought I'm getting that because it's normally £130 a year, and it was 60 quid. So here it is with the £60. I've paid it all off, but because it was time sensitive, if I didn't get it then, I wouldn't have got it at that price. And I didn't have the £60 at the time, but I did have half. So it worked out quite beautiful, didn't it? So I managed to pay for it, and now I've paid all the payments off earlier as well. Once I had the rest of it, I just paid it off. So that's the service I use, and that's really useful for me professionally. So you see, I've got random purchases on Amazon. I think this was my green screen that I've got for my setup. Uber Eats, I've probably done quite a few Ubers. And again, it works out cheap, doesn't it? Like a £15 purchase, you're paying maybe 8, maybe 10, maybe 8. I don't know. And then you just pay 2 or 3 quid each payment. Nothing, is it? Again, £100 on Tesco's. That's my grocery shopping. You've got another Amazon. Steam says video games. There's probably video games as well. Probably got a bit carried away. Because again, you're only paying half. If it's a £50 purchase, I've only got to pay 25 today. It's like, all right, I'll do that. I think that was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm pretty sure it was, actually. But to get it, and I've paid it all off. So I've not been irresponsible with it. It's like, I understand it's important to make the payments. It helps rebuild my credit. And I haven't had it long, but I'm just using it like I would a debit card, but allows me to. So I don't plan ahead that I'm gonna repay it early and I'm gonna buy these things. It's just because I'm able to pay it early. I've just paid it early, and then I would just treat myself again if I need something, especially shopping. So yeah, the outstanding payments for me are Tesco's and eBay. So Tesco's, I think something like £20, 20, 40, £18 maybe. I can't remember. But each of these are probably 18 quid. And then the eBay one's a little bit higher because I think they're 18 as well, actually. I'm not sure the exact numbers there. But yeah, I just have to stay on top of them. If I can pay them early, I will, because it releases the funds. But yeah, so if someone was to click this link and join, we'd both get £5 credit each. Now, it's not huge amounts, is it? But it adds up and it helps. So any money off as anything, I think is a good deal. Like, for instance, I just got Avatar. I don't know if it's coming up on here. There you go. Avatar Water. Way of the Water, I think it was it. I don't know. The second film. I just got it on Amazon Blu-ray, $7.99. And it was paid, and I got 15 pence cashback back on that reward, which was, I know it's 15 pence, but it's still free money, isn't it? Just because I've used it, just because I used the buy it or pay it all up. It was like, instead of using the credit service, it was used. I just did it as a test, really, and I want the film anyway. But again, if I had the £5 credit, that would have paid most of that purchase anyway, wouldn't it? I'd have got it really cheap for like £3 or whatever it is. But they're the two services currently I recommend. If I come across something else that I think is great and there's a reason I would use it, then I'll recommend it. If I think something's an absolute shithouse and it's a nightmare and I do not endorse it, even if there's a chance for me to financially gain from it, I wouldn't do it. I would never promote something that I don't think would benefit people. And for someone like myself, this Zilch has been awesome because, like I just said, it's enabled me to get this wheel. It's enabled me to do my grocery shopping when at times would have meant I maybe have to wait maybe another week. It's enabled me to get takeaways like Uber Eats, like if I want McDonald's or something, and it's like I can get it slightly earlier than I would normally because I get declined for everything else. Like Klarna, some people can get Klarna. I can't get Klarna. There's a lot of things I can't get, but I've managed to get this. So if anyone has bad credit history, this is an option, but I wouldn't do it if you're not good. If you've got no intention of paying it back, you're risking shit. Well, there's no point getting yourself down a freaking mountain of crap if you can't handle it. But like, for instance, if you do a job and you get paid monthly, this isn't really going to help you too much because you still got to pay a payment in every 2 weeks. So if you was to do it, the only way that would make sense is if you did it at the end of your first. If you did it in the middle of the month and the second week, the 2 weeks would land on payday, then you could, in theory, because it's over 6 weeks, in theory, you'd pay your first repayment on payday, but you'd have to pay 2 repayments really because it'd have to cover the middle of the month, and then your next payday would pay the other payments. So it's ways to manage it, but you have to think ahead if you're getting paid monthly, whether it's worth it, because you would have to pay that middle of the month payment, even though you're not getting paid again to the end of the month because it's weekly. But if you did the Zilch Classic, that's monthly, but you need a better credit rating for that one. But yeah, so that's how I've used it. It's enabled me to purchase something I desperately wanted, and it's incredibly hard to find these bloody things. So the G920 is the Xbox version. The G29 is the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 version, but both work on PC. I've had this model twice. I was thinking of getting a PlayStation model. It worked out about £10 more. But my daughter, I bought my daughter an Xbox One X, the older model, but powerful, last year. So I'm thinking, this is £10 cheaper. We can put the Xbox in the living room. So I'll have it connected to my PC, for the Sims. But if she ever wants to play like Forza Horizon or something in the living room, we can just bring the Xbox into the living room. And then we can just plug it in, and she can use the wheel. So I think we both benefit from it. I don't want to digress too much with that, but I just thought I'd share really this. But again, don't get credit if you can't handle it. I've had people. I've known someone in the past who also got a debt relief order like I got. They got it before me, about 3 years before me. They told me about it. I didn't really want to do it. I was like, no, I'm going to wait. But unfortunately, my financial situation just was not getting any better, and it was in the end I had to do something about it. You can't just bury your head in the sand. So I recognised 6 years of purgatory is going to be my punishment to remedy this situation. In my circumstance, there was no other choice, hence why you do it. You don't jump into something like that for no reason. But you learn your lesson, So I'm trying to rebuild now, and it's being sustainable. Unfortunately, the friend at the time, unfortunately, they went and got in a shitload more debt, and then they end up getting another debt relief order. And I just thought, mate, you got to learn. There's no point if you're not going to learn your lesson. So you do have to learn. So I would not encourage someone to get debt just so I can make £5. That's not the case at all. But if you can manage it, and you don't go power hungry on a power trip and go mental every time your credit limit goes up, and you do it responsibly, I think it can help. But just make sure you repay it, like I've been doing. Be sensible.